This is a presentation of BSRN, Box Studios Radio Network. The Power Play Post Show is on the air, covering minor league hockey since 2003, and now covering the Binghamton Black Bears with news, reactions, and in-depth interviews only heard here. And now from the Box Studios in Kirkwood, New York, here is your host of the Power Play Post Show, Bob Howard.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Power Play Post Show. This is the show for March 2nd, 2025. This is season 14, episode number 47. And this is episode number 486 in the long-running podcast that is the Power Play Post Show. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Power Play Post Show. I am your host, Bob Howard. And what a weekend for the Binghamton Black Bears, obviously taking 2 games from the Dashers Hockey Club from Danville, Illinois. And a lot of things happened, obviously, this weekend. Tyson Kirkby scored his 110th goal, taking the franchise lead from Nikita Ivashkin. They were both tied at 109 going into Saturday night's game. And, of course, Tyson with the 4th goal on Saturday. I believe it was in the second period. I believe the only goal scored in the second period for the Black Bears on Saturday. Tyson Kirkby cements his kind of like legacy. I don't think anyone's going to touch this for a while. You know, wherever he ends up is where it's going to be. So that happened. Dakota Bond with an amazing, beautiful save as a Dasher was coming in on Friday night. Dakota didn't have a stick, made an excellent defensive play without a stick. You know, probably one of the best defensemen right now, if not the best defenseman in the FPHL. He broke his 100-point mark in his pro career. Now, you got to think about it. With Dakota, he has not been playing really that much, realistically. And to do what he's done in the short amount of time that he has done it has been really, really impressive. Dakota Bond this year has got 40 games played with 14 goals and 39 assists for 53 points, right? But if we look at his career, now he's considered a rookie because he's played under 100 games going into his second season. But if you look at this right now, in just 84 games, he's got 30 goals, 74 assists, and 104 points. Any forward in this league would love to have those numbers. Those are really good numbers. That's second line quality record or numbers there. So he's had a phenomenal start to his pro career. I think there are some people out there that think that Dakota could legitimately be playing at a higher level, whether it's the SP and the different physical kind of play or even the ECHL. There is definitely some that think that he could be playing at a higher level. I think he's a defenseman who does things the right way. And listen, he can lay the big hits when he needs to, which is pretty impressive. Obviously the Black Bears fans did a great job donating a lot of stuff to the Dashers players. The Dashers, the Mississippi Seawolves, and the HC Venom are probably in question on whether or not they return next year based on the fact that the situations for those 3 teams are just not that great. Black Bears fans, just like the Carolina Thunderbirds fans last week, came together and donated some items, and I thought that was a very good thing. But this is a hockey community that is rich in what they have and how they care about hockey and hockey players. And, I don't think I've heard, except for maybe at the beginning of the season, that there was a need for essential items for the Black Bears players. I think the Booster Club reached out. I know they've reached out just recently about a trip that's coming up, I think, to Blue Ridge to have their members, the Booster Club members, bring in snacks and stuff for the guys' trips. And I will say this, and I want this to be received in the way that it is meant to be sent to anybody that is upset with Black Bears fans. Binghamton Hockey has had a booster club for 52 years. It's one of the oldest booster clubs in minor pro hockey that has been ongoing for a very long time. They produce thousands of dollars every game that they get from jersey auction raffles and from 50-50 to be able to support the team as well as they do. And the Black Bears players are very fortunate to be playing in the city that they are. Just talk to some of the players that have gone and played somewhere else. The conditions are not, better in other places. I can't imagine there is a city in the FPHL that has a better support system for its players than any other city here in the FPHL. I will also make this kind of statement as well. The situations that players live in, that is 100% on the ownership. Period. If there's a problem with where players live, that's on ownership. The deal is when you come play with the FPHL, the ownership provides your housing. It's like that in every single city in the FPHL. So if there are problems, it's the ownership's problem. It's not the fans' problems. It's not the fans' issues. The fans are, so to make any comments that the Black Bears fans should not have done this small little token of great hockey, appreciation and taking care of the hockey community. No, it's not good. It just isn't good. The Black Bears fans did a good thing, period, because they are some of the best fans in minor pro hockey in North America. It's that simple. And I'm proud. I'm proud of the fans and what Kelly Howe did and all the fans that contributed to the donation drive that she set up. And I am 100% disappointed in, again, the Visions Veterans Memorial Arena management staff for not getting back to Kelly and helping her out. It is disappointing. It is a relationship between Binghamton Hockey and the county for many years that has been very important. And to ignore requests to work with the arena to make something happen is disappointing. And I can't understate how horribly disappointed I am with the arena. However, the beautiful thing about Binghamton hockey fans, we find a way around it. We will take a problem and we will solve it. And I don't mean to be quoting, Vanilla Ice there, but it's true. It's true. But it's disappointing because once again, it seems like sometimes when you are trying to work with Divisions Veterans Memorial Arena management staff, they unfortunately will, put a roadblock in there. So I just wanted to talk about that first. We have a lot to talk about in this episode of the Black Bears, of the Power Play Post Show. Of course, Tyson Kirkby scores his 110th goal. Great. 2 weeks ago, Gavin Yates had his 200th Black Bears point and his 300th FPHL point. And then, of course, you have the Dakota Bond scoring not only his 100th, but his second and his first, his second, 103rd on Friday night. So great milestones for everybody. The Power Play Post Show is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on whichever platform you listen to your podcast, and please subscribe. Please join the Power Play Post Show Facebook group. Just go to Facebook and search Power Play Post Show. Check out BinghamtonHockey.net for all your Binghamton hockey information and curiosity. And on this edition of the Power Play Post Show, two-time playoffs MVP and Binghamton Black Bears forward Gavin Yates returns to the Power Play Post Show. So that interview will be coming up here at the end of the show. The Black Bears defeat the Dashers Hockey Club by a combined score in 2 games, 16-1. Pretty impressive. Black Bears and Nolan Egbert shut out the Dashers on Friday night by the score of 9-0. In the first period, scoring the game's first goal, Austin Thompson scored his 28th goal of the season, giving the Black Bears a 1-0 lead, 10:45 into the first period. I think that there was probably some people thought that they were going to score a little bit sooner than that on the Dashers. Josh Fletcher scored the Black Bears' second goal of the game with just 5:22 left to go in the period, giving the home team a 2-0 lead, with Jovan Davis in the box for hooking the second power play unit came out, and C.J. Stubbs gave the Black Bears a 3-0 lead. The Dashers had a couple shorthanded chances on the Black Bears power play. So that was kind of the interesting thing. Probably the thing I took out the most from the first period was that on the Black Bears power plays, they had two of them. They kind of gave up a chance or two to the Dashers, shorthanded, but Eggy and the defense did a really good job stopping them. I think the shots on goal of 4 for the Dashers seems low, but they were creating pressure in the offensive zone. Now, when I talked to Eggy after the game, he thought that the shots on goal for 4 was a little bit light because he said 14. He thought there was really 20, so there was 6 shots on goal that he didn't think were counted. A slow start for the Black Bears, but they came around and got 3 in the first period, which is a better feeling going into the first intermission. Shots on goal, Binghamton 20, Dashers 4. In the second period, with Dale Dion in the box for tripping, the Black Bears scored their 14th shorthanded goal of the season off the stick of Tyson Kirkby with 3:58 left to go in the middle period. With Bowie Slarks in the penalty box for too many men penalty assessed to the Dashers, Jesse Anderson scored the Black Bears' second power play goal of the game, making this a 5-0 game. In the beginning of the second period, Tyson Kirkby left the ice after getting high-sticked by Nathan Malott. The captain was back out on the ice very shortly after he left the ice. Now, what's crazy is of course, how the whole game kind of panned out. Tyson gets a goal. He does leave and then comes back, gets the power play goal. And then what happens in the third period is kind of like just the way Tyson is, right? He gets put into positions where he is a part of almost every important part of the game for the Black Bears. And of course, he got the power play goal. After the Austin Thompson 10-minute misconduct penalty, William Lyons was in Brant Sherwood's face. The two did not appear to be trading phone numbers. At the 12:05 mark of the middle period, Gavin Yates lost his skates and went hard into the boards. He was in pain on the ice. Dan Weaver and the Black Bears trainer, Elise, were there assisting him. Dakota Bond and Dan Weaver helped Gavin to the door. It looked like he possibly hit a rut. The way his skates just stopped and then he hit the boards. He thought he lost an edge. It just looked really, really violent and horrible. And of course, we all know he did not play in Saturday night's game. And yet he's going to be here on the Power Play Post show. The pest of the game was Dashers, part owner Barry Soskin, which there was this whole kind of theme for the weekend because of the Dashers being there. I thought that was funny. I don't know if Andreas is going to get in trouble for that, but it was interesting nonetheless. The Black Bears scored their 14th shorty of the season. Of course, it was Kirkby's 4th shorthanded goal of the season, and he actually has 7 in his career and leads shorthanded goals for the franchise. So with 7. Okay, bear with me here. This was not the best period for the Black Bears. There were mistakes in the period, yet the shots are 29 and goals 2. So what do I know, right? I mean, honestly, I'm watching this game, and sometimes when you watch a game where a team dominates, and of course, we all know in the end the Black Bears win 9-0. But when you look at the game, right? When you look at the game that the Black Bears had, sometimes when you're just watching them dominate totally, you could still see mistakes or decisions that weren't made the right way, and you're like, oh, we can nitpick about that or that or that or that or that. And I kind of feel bad about it, right? Because, Brant always talks about getting better, doing things, even when they win good games, when they win, 6-2. What can we have done better to not have given up those 2 goals? Those type of things. He talks about that all the time. And I find myself watching these games sometimes, and when they're dominating through and going, oh, well, that's the second time they've done that and on that part of the ice. That's something they need to work on. Get the monkey off his back. Cameron Clark scored his 15th goal of the season at the 6:35 mark of the third period. Breaking a long streak of not being able to score. Tyson Kirkby scored his second goal of the game, making this a 7-0 Black Bears lead with 12:35 left to go in the third period. Dakota Bond scored his 13th goal of the season at the 8:08 mark of the third period, making this an official blowout at 8-0. I guess that's the official number I came up with. If you're up by 8, it's officially a blowout. I think it's 5. I think 5. If you're up by 5, it's probably a blowout. Tyson Kirkby made this a 9-goal game with his hat-trick goal, scoring 5:26 to go in the third period. The most important goal of this game was the goal at the 6:35 mark of the third period. I'm saying this as a definite thing. Cameron Clark, I truly believe that the Black Bears are going to go far in the playoffs. I think for them to be very successful, Cam Clark is going to be a part of that success. So him not scoring for 11 games, and I tried. I think after 5 or 6 games, I was like, Cam's kind of like he's taking shots. The effort's 100% there, but man, they're just not going in. And I think I finally mentioned it after like game 8 or game 9 that he hadn't that he was a little snake bit, and it was great to see Clark get that. Clark, snake bitten as of late, who hadn't scored in his last 11 games until Friday night. Great to see Kirks get the hat trick with a shorty, a power play goal, and an even strength goal. Basically scoring every way possible, which is a snapshot of the season with a team with the Black Bears leading in shorthanded goals, power play goals, and goals this season. Nolan Egbert said for him, I talked to him after the game, this was a needed game for him. People sometimes don't know what goes through goalies when it comes to the mental state. Yes, it is a physical game for the netminders, but it is also a mental game for them as well. I told him after the game, worry about nothing more than the team winning it all again, and and all this will be worth it. But he said it's vanity to be thinking about his stats and whatnot, but he wants his stats to be better. He wants to just be better, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. The Black Bears could still improve on tonight's performance. You look up and down. They scored 9 goals. They had 70. I believe it ends up being 70 shots. There were plays that were made that could have been better. Battles with the puck possession, right? However, the Black Bears peppered Parker Rutherford with 70 shots, and he saved 61 of them. He had a hell of a night. Don't get me wrong. I have a hard time saying that, maybe because, some fans said, oh, he saved 61 shots. He should have been the 3rd star of the game, or he's an honorable mention. No, he still gave up 9 goals, right? Still gave up 9 goals. Unfortunately, in some cases, like, we give a goaltender like Eggy, right? He got the shutout, right? And he saved 14 shots. So there was 14 shots on goal, and he gets the shutout, and we give him the 3rd star. But then we look at Parker and say, well, he stopped 61. So, but listen, results really matter. And Parker I don't think he played awful, but he gave up 16 goals this weekend. And when you give up 16 goals in 6 periods, the numbers don't look good. His numbers did not improve this weekend. No matter how good we think his individual effort was, and he still gave up 16 goals. And it's kind of hard to award somebody that when Nolan gave up no goals in 14 shots. I know it's only 14 shots, even though he thought it was 20. So I don't know. This was the Black Bears' fifth game scoring 9 goals or more in a game. 3 games they have scored 9, and 2 games they have scored 11 this season. The Black Bears are now 37-4-1 after Friday night's game with 107 points. They now have a 16 games winning streak. And then on Saturday night, the Dashers and the Black Bears meet again at 7 p.m. All right. Shots on goal was Binghamton had 21 in the third period. Dashers had 6. Binghamton had 70. Dashers had 14. They peppered Parker Rutherford, and they were rewarded for that. Let's talk about some of the final stats of this. The Black Bears extended their winning streak to 16 with a 9-0 shutout. Tyson Kirkby scored his 4th shorthanded goal of the season, scored a power play goal, and an even strength goal for the hat trick, and assisted on another for a 4-point night. Dakota Bond had a goal and assisted on 3 others for a 4-point night as well, and toppling the 100-point mark of his pro career. CJ Stubbs scored a power play goal and assisted on 2 other goals. Cameron Clark broke his 11-game scoreless streak, scoring his 15th goal of the season, and he assisted on another. Austin Thompson scored a goal and had a helper. Jesse Anderson scored a goal and assisted on another. Josh Fletcher scored his 5th goal of the season. He's starting to pick up his offensive capabilities, and he assisted on another goal as well. Zach Sirota assisted on 2 goals. Donald Oliveri assisted on 2 goals, and wore the hamburger hat after Tyson Kirkby's hat trick goal. Nolan Egbert saved 14 of 14, or 20 of 20 in his mind, for his 14th win of the season in a second pro shutout. The Black Bears improved to 37-4-1 again with 107 points. Let's move to Saturday. The Black Bears then defeated the Dashers on Saturday night in front of a sellout crowd. The Black Bears 6 sellout by the score of 7-1. In the first period, just 140 into the first period, CJ Stubbs scored his 2nd goal of the weekend to get the Black Bears on the score sheet first with his 18th goal of the season. Just 20 seconds into the Black Bears, the Black Bears scored their 2nd goal of the game with Josh Fletcher's 6th goal of the season, making this a 2-0 quick lead. And of course, that's Josh Fletcher's 2nd goal of the weekend. With Sean Doyle in the box for tripping, the Black Bears scored their 3rd goal on the power play off the stick of Scott Romakers, who scored his 12th goal of the season, making this a 3-0 game just 8:53 into the first period. Again tonight with the first game for Darian Benich, who signed as a college rookie for the Black Bears earlier this week, and with Gavin Yates not playing tonight, it was a perfect time to get him into the game. And I thought he played well. I thought, for his first game, he's probably only had a small handful of practices with the team. I think he did well. He didn't try to overdo things. He was keeping his game simple, and that's important when you're first coming in. A much quicker start to the game for the Black Bears with 2 goals in the first 2 minutes. Darian got a shift in the 5:35. He got his first shift in 5:35 into the period. He tried to hit on the boards, missed, but then came streaking into the zone and had a nice pass to Jesse Anderson, whose shot was stopped by Rutherford. Very nice pass. Great opportunity for Jesse that just didn't happen. Rutherford made some good saves this weekend amongst the, 70 or 120, 118 19 saves that he had. Fast start for the you can see that the Dashers are outmatched on the ice in every way. Their time in the offensive zone in front of the Black Bears netminders is so very limited. They go in, they get a shot, and the Black Bears bring it back out. They go in, they get a shot, and the Black Bears bring it out. And a lot of times those shots don't even make it to the Black Bears netminders. What a move by Cameron Clark, sending a puck between the legs of a Dasher defender. Even though he didn't score, it was a beautiful, beautiful move. Okay, I know Rutherford has given up 12 goals so far this weekend, through the 4 periods. But my God, has he been so much? He's seen so much rubber coming at him. Even though it has not officially been announced, the game was definitely a sellout. You could tell. Shots on goal in the first period was Binghamton 21, Dashers 8. That was an improvement for the Dashers, obviously, only having 4 shots on goal in the first game on Friday night and improving that to 8 in the first period of the second game. The Black Bears took a little longer in the period to score their 4th goal, but it was worth it. Was worth the wait as Tyson Kirkby scored his 32nd goal of the season and his franchise lead 110th goal, surpassing Nikita Ivashkin for that lead. And, of course, there was a little bit of a small celebration. Fans cheered. There's a graphic up on the scoreboard, and Tyson saluted the team, or saluted the fans. The Dashers get their first goal of the weekend after a bunch of penalties at the 7:22 mark of the period as Quinn O'Reilly scored a goal 9 seconds after the penalty mess. Now, I'm going to pull up the box score here for a second on this one and talk about this, because this was I don't know what they were doing here. So at the 7:22 mark, there was a slashing that was announced for Sean Doyle, right? And then after the slashing, Don Oliveri and Sean Doyle dropped the gloves and they fought, okay? And then as Sean Doyle was going down, there was probably one extra jab from Donald Oliveri. Well, it looked like that, Don was skating off the ice. He was heading off the ice to go to the penalty room because, of course, there was only 2:38 left to go in the second period. So he knows he's got a fighting major. He's going off. He's all pumped up. He's saluting the crowd. Looked great. Everybody's cheering. And then the penalties come across, and he hears this in the locker room. He's not told by anybody what they gave him. He hears this while he's in the locker room. He hears the announcement, and he finds out that he gets an aggressor game misconduct, and let's see here, an unsportsmanlike conduct as well. And I think they took away there. At one point, there was a slashing penalty on there, but maybe they switched it around. He had 19 penalty minutes at one point from this indication, and then they took off the slashing, and it looks like it's an unsportsmanlike conduct. So they did all that. Tyson, I think, gets a penalty as well for slashing 10 seconds later, yet Tyson was in the box for so he was probably serving the penalty for Don Oliveri. He comes out of the box when the goal scored, and then 1 second after the puck is dropped, he gets a slashing minor. But Jesse Anderson had to go out like 3 times and try to get an explanation from the referees, because the referees just didn't know what the hell they were doing. And again, this is something that people talk about all the time, and I try not to get into it when it comes to the referees, but they definitely sometimes just don't know what the frig they're doing, and it takes so long to figure something out. This was a slash by Sean Doyle, a fight with Donald Oliveri, and then because the referees are calling some ridiculous aggressor game misconduct, it just blows my mind. Get your effing bias out of this league when it comes to the referees. I have no idea. No one can explain to me realistically, and I've had the fans have talked about it online, and I just can't figure out. Nobody that I've talked to about this can understand why he got an aggressor penalty. So either way, so we move on from that. Let me go back to my outline here, but because it was just ridiculous, right? The Black Bears. Okay, so the second period notes. The Black Bears' second power play opportunity was generated 4 shots and had a lot of pressure, but Parker Rutherford stood on his head, and one save was on his butt. He just got a piece of the shot when it was coming in hot. Kirkby, after the 4th Black Bears goal, now holds the franchise lead with 110 goals, but also with 154 games played, 138 assists, and 247 assists for now. That was up to that point, but he wasn't done for the night. The Black Bears just had a shift that ended at the 10:46 mark of the second period, where they had a flurry of 4 chances that the puck luck was just the reason why they didn't score. And the fact that Parker Rutherford is doing everything that he can. With 8:27 left to go in the period, the Black Bears have 18 shots on goal, and the Dashers only had 2. The Dashers' next 2 shots on goal were while they were on the power play from a Dale Dion hooking. I understand 100% Nicholas Poirier going after Quinn O'Reilly for the boarding of Tyson Kirkby, but I do not think O'Reilly intended that hit at all, especially after his reaction. When he was done, he kind of put his hands up like, I know what's coming, go ahead. And you can't blame Nicholas Poirier for going after him, but at the same time, I honestly don't think Quinn O'Reilly even remotely meant to do what he did. It was just his reaction afterwards. If you watch that, you'll see. With 3:01 left to go in the second period, is anyone disappointed with the score? Or are they okay with it? I know many people likely expected another night like Friday night, but that doesn't always happen. So a lot of times, even if you're playing against a really bad team, right, or a team that just isn't matched up with you, like the Dashers are definitely not matched up with the Black Bears, 100%, right? Sometimes you go into that next game, and it's a lot closer than you think. And this happens a lot. Now, last year when we played against the Mississippi Seawolves, no, that didn't happen. When we blew them out in the first game, we blew them out in the second game, and that was that. But that doesn't always happen in pro hockey. It just doesn't. A rare Donald Oliveri fight. Let's talk about this one more time. He was amped up during the fight and after. The Downfather spoke, and yet I was equally confused by the penalties here. Okay, so this is how the penalties. This is how I saw the penalties come through, and it's a little confusing, right? So they changed this since last night because I wrote these down specifically as they called them. So Donald Oliveri got 4 penalties when they initially called it: fighting, slashing, unsportsmanlike conduct, and the aggressor. Sean Doyle got fighting and slashing. So the slashing was really the start of everything. Sean Doyle's slash was the start of it, and then the fight happened, right? And then Tyson Kirkby got an abuse of officials. And yet they turned that around and they changed it to Don got the, Don got the unsportsmanlike conduct. He got the fighting major and he got the aggressor, right? So the aggressor kicks him out of the game. The fighting major will be a matching penalty with Sean Doyle. And then you have what essentially would be a power play, right? However, that power play would be offset by Sean Doyle slashing minor. Okay, so then the fighting major there, right? So that's 6 of the penalties. The 7th penalty is assessed. See, that doesn't make any. So that doesn't. Yeah. There's the abuse of officials. So when Kirkby argues the aggressor penalty, because obviously he does, he gets an abuse of officials. That essentially gives the Dashers the power play right there. Okay, so everything evens out, and the one penalty that's causing the power play is the abuse of officials. So then 9 seconds later, at the 17:31 mark, the Dashers score their goal. Okay, and then because of that, he comes out, and then Kirkby gets a slashing 1 second later. And they had to change that. Now, again, it was very confusing on what they had in there initially. Did anyone think the aggressor penalty was warranted? Anybody? Bueller? No? Okay. Neither did I. What was an interesting ending, unfortunately, the Black Bears quickly allowed a goal. I believe it was a power play goal through, though it wasn't credited initially at first, but then the off-ice officials got that right. Sirota and Kirkby confused on calls. Brandt and Jesse Anderson wanted answers, and the referees couldn't give any. Such a mess. Sirota was like going back and forth to the penalty box. Then Kirkby was in. Kirkby was out. Jesse Anderson went to the referees 3 times. Just a crazy mess. Weird. Shots on goal in the second period was Binghamton 26. The Dashers 7. Totals were Binghamton 47 and the Dashers 15. Third period, Dakota Bond keeps scoring, and tonight scored the Black Bears' second power play goal with the Dashers' Yohan Davis in the box for hooking, making this a 5-1 game. The Black Bears made There's a 6-1 game with Scott Romaker's second goal of the game at the 9:07 mark of the third period. Jesse Anderson scored the Black Bears' 7th goal of the game and the 16th of the weekend with 2:38 left to go in the game, giving the Black Bears a comfortable 6-goal lead. Third period notes. This game got physical, and the two teams are probably sick of each other. Josh Fletcher had a great fight. I think he gets better every time he drops his gloves. I sensed frustration on the Black Bear side of things more so than on the Dasher side, and I believe that they just thought they probably should have scored more goals. Black Bears probably think they should have cashed in on a lot more opportunities. Scott Romaker's on the line with Chris Mott and C.J. Stubbs is producing, and great to see him get his 12th and 13th goals of the season. The Black Bears outscored the Dashers this weekend 16-1, which is good, right? So it's like you really can't be frustrated, but it just felt like at times the Black Bears thought they had opportunities that they should have cashed in on. The Black Bears win their 17th game in a row and improved to 38-4-1 with 110 points. Shots on goal was Binghamton in the third period with 18, Dasher 6. Totals were 65-21. So realistically, the Black Bears got 135 shots on goal and did a pretty good job there. Okay, so the streak is at 17. They sweep the season series against the Dashers and Kirkby's milestone goal. Tyson Kirkby scored his now franchise-leading 110th goal of his career. He now leads in every main category offensively: games played, goals, assists, and points. Tyson also assisted on 2 other goals for a 3-point night. C.J. Stubbs scored his 18th goal of the season and assisted on another for a 2-point night. Josh Fletcher scored his 6th goal of the season. Scott Romaker scored his 12th and 13th goals and assisted on another for 3 points. Dakota Bond scored his 14th goal of the season and did so on the power play. Jesse Anderson scored his 10th of the season, marking the 12th person to get double digits, I think, this year. So congratulations to Jesse, and he assisted on another goal. D-Man Nicholas Poirier and Dan Weber both had 2 assists each in the game, and Connor McAnanima won his 24th game of the season, saving 14 of 15 shots. The Black Bears win their 17th game in a row and improve to 38-4-1 with 110 points. And now the Black Bears will travel to Blue Ridge, to the Blue Ridge Mountains region in Virginia to play 3 games in 3 nights against the Blue Ridge Bobcats next weekend, starting on Friday at 7:30 p.m. I believe Saturday's game is 7:30 p.m., and I believe, if I remember correctly, the next game after that, the Sunday game, is a 4:05 start, so which is pretty good. All right, so let's get to the Gavin Yates interview. You've heard me talk enough. I need to drink a tall glass of water, which is what I'm going to do, and then we'll be right back with Gavin Yates right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Hi, this is Don Biggs from the 92-93 Binghamton Rangers.
Hi, this is Brandon Buczynski.
This is Grady Wittenberg, the voice of the Binghamton Senators, and you're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. This is the weekend wrap-up show. The Black Bears just played the Dashers Hockey Club. We're joined here with a good friend of ours and somebody who's always got a smile on his face when he sees me, which there's something wrong there. But it's okay. He is Shooter McGavin. He is Gavin Yates. Gavin, welcome back to the show. It's always a pleasure to see you down at the rink, but you always have a smile on your face no matter what, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for having me. No, it's my favorite place to be is at the rink on Friday and Saturday, and everyone involved. And we all love it and appreciate it, so I appreciate what you do and stuff. So, yeah, all good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And I think your favorite place to be from Sunday to Thursday is at the golf course, correct?
Yeah, when it's nice out and if I'm playing well.
Gavin, let's talk a little bit about this season. You've been in this league for obviously a long time. You're one of the older guys on the team. You've got a couple championships, a couple MVPs. You've obviously got your experience. Have you been a part of a team that's been this dominant in your career?
Me and my dad joke about it all the time. When I was growing up, we'd always be like, "Why are you always on the worst teams? You know, like you never won anything." And now, like I talk to him, we laugh about it. It's like about time I'm on an actual good team that dominates. You know, so it's good to be on this side of it. But I've never been a part of a team like this. I mean, what we're doing to some of these teams is just incredible. For my dad to watch it and everyone, it's just like it's incredible what you guys are doing. So
yeah,
no, it's about time I'm on one of the good teams. So
yeah, and obviously, you know, last year was good. You guys win the championship, but it seems like this team this year is even better than last year's team. It's kind of weird to say that, but it's true, right?
Yeah, I guess like stats wise, but I mean it's kind of the same core group. I mean, stats would probably say otherwise, but it's basically the same team, I think.
How did the team that won the championship last year compare to the team when you were on Watertown and won the championship?
I don't even think you could compare the two.
Really?
It's all night and day, yeah.
You know, but
yeah, I think if we ever played that team, we'd blow them out 10-0.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay. No, that's.
To be honest with you, I mean, just the skill, just the systems, just what we run and how just like tight knit we are. Everybody knows what they're doing. I mean, in Watertown, we even have systems. So I think just put it that way. Maybe not 10-0, but we definitely win.
Right, and you know I've talked multiple times here on the show about Jersey in the systems. Does it feel? This is going to sound like a strange question, and if it is, I understand. Does it feel like this is more of a pro team than any of the teams you've been on before because Jersey has brought in systems that you can watch the NHL, the AHL, and the ECHL and see those systems in place as well?
Oh, yeah, 100%. No, it's just having systems in play is a big part of it. You know, like that's what separates going to watch a beer league on a Friday night compared to going to watch an NHL game. You know, these guys are dialed in. They're on the same page. They're doing the same things. They're all structured. They know what they're doing. So, I mean, yeah, it goes a long way, and that's a part of pro hockey. You know, the systems we have, the practices we run, what we do at practices, it's all connected.
You've been here all 4 seasons, and obviously, you know, you played with Coach Sherwood in the past, and then he comes in to the system for year 2, halfway through. You know, has he just gotten a little bit better each game as a coach?
Yeah, I think he's gotten more comfortable, but I mean, nothing crazy like. The first day he stepped in, he surprised me, and I think he surprised a lot of the guys on just how he came in, how he talked to the guys in the room and everything. So, I mean, he's been pretty far on with that since day one, but I think he's just gotten more comfortable with his messages.
You know, for you, playing on the line with Kyle Steffen, CJ Stubbs, I think you've had Romakers on the line a little bit here and there. Talk about the line set up this year for you. Obviously, Kyle's been in the middle most of it, and then on the other side was Blake Tosto at one point, and then CJ Stubbs came in after Blake left. Talk about your line mates and how you've kind of gelled with these guys.
Yeah, I think it started with me and Steph towards the end of the year. He came in later. He kind of had not a hot start when he first got here, but you could tell he had all the intangibles to play in this league and be a good player in this league. So once he got his feet under him, he started playing center. Jersey put me on his wing and just kind of never looked back. We had Smitty there last year. He was a huge part of that line. But we were trying to find somebody to fill that void of Smitty being gone, and CJ Stubbs, I mean, who's a better guy to fill that spot than him? So yeah, I mean, Kyle's he's our F1. He gets in those corners. He can win draws. He's physical. He's a great skater. He can score. And then I kind of skate the puck, try to find Stubbs, and he's going to bury it. So.
Yeah, but there are times when you kind of just skate around pretty much everybody on the ice. You'll go zone to zone to zone with the puck and then sometimes bury it yourself. I think one of the biggest criticisms Binghamton fans had of you because they didn't understand your game for the most part, which was when does he dump it off to somebody like a CJ Stubbs to score the goal, or when does he take the shot? How quick of a decision does it have to be for you sometimes to be able to know when to pop it over to, maybe CJ or even Kyle Steffen, or to take the shot yourself?
I think I'm a pass-first guy almost too often. So
Okay.
maybe that's why I hold on to the puck for too long. I'm looking for that pass. 90% of the time I'm looking for that pass. And if I do skate too long with it, it's because I didn't get the shot off. But I'm always thinking pass first. I don't know if it's a gift or a curse or what, but I'm always thinking pass first. That's the way I've always played hockey and stuff. So maybe if I skate with it too long, I just didn't get the shot off.
Is it because to me sometimes when I see you kind of skate through the defensive zone and you're doing that diagonal, crisscross type of move, I always think he's got to be looking for how he's going to deke the goaltender, and yet then 2 out of 3 times you're dumping it off to somebody who's then taking the shot and scoring the goal. So it's got to be a quick decision, correct?
Yeah, I think that's just how I was trained to play hockey. I don't know. I've been doing it since I was a young age. Like, I'm always just looking to pass. I'd rather pass to a guy like Fletcher, see him score than me score.
Well, that's fair. Especially his cellies. His cellies are pretty damn awesome, right?
Yeah, I'll get more fired up for a goal like that. If I give somebody a backdoor tap, then I would get way more fired up over that than me putting the puck in the net.
Did you know that you were getting your 300th point on Saturday and your 200th Binghamton Black Bear point? Did you know those numbers were happening on Saturday when they did?
I had no idea. I think my girlfriend texted me in between the pier. I saw my phone light up, and I looked over real quick, and she was like, I think it was the first point of the night. He was like, oh, that was your 100th, 99th point or whatever. Somebody must have said it on the broadcast. But I didn't even notice it till she texted me, and I look over and saw it on my phone.
Well, it's a bunch of us stat dorks that take, look at that stuff. How proud of you that, in the 8 years that you've played, that, you've been able to accomplish this much?
Yeah, I think it's a big credit to my game. I mean, it's over a point per game in a pro hockey league. So, I think that's a big honor.
And you get to play on the same line with a D1 guy. So, I mean, you hang pretty good with Kyle Steffen. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's getting old too. So
he is. He's getting up there.
He's older than me. So
and you play golf, and he rides motorcycles out in the countryside. So let's be honest. I mean, he's still living his young life, right?
Yeah, he's a crazy old man.
Fair enough. This team this year doesn't seem to have a weak spot, right? The first line's good. Kirks is obviously running that and doing well with Ollie. And then you have the third line, which, again, like last year, just seems to, kill minutes when they need to, right? When they're out there giving the first 2 lines a rest. But at the same time, they're chipping in the secondary scoring that you're always looking for on a third or a fourth line, so to speak. How complete is this team?
We got 3 first lines. Sure, it says it all the time. But, I mean, if we took our third line, they'd be a first line on any other team. So we got 3 first lines. And it's huge, like to go back to the Watertown team. Yeah. If me and Jurich didn't put up points, we wouldn't win. That's not the case here at all. You can rely on the third line. You can rely on the other line. Everyone's getting their chances. Somebody's going to score. It doesn't have to come down to 2 or 3 guys.
One of the things
is very relaxing for when it comes to game time.
No, it does. It does kind of like you guys have confidence in that third line and that 10 forward, so you guys know that you can take a break, catch your breath, that type of thing.
Do it.
Yeah.
I don't have to do it. Somebody will.
which is comforting. It's one of those things that people talk about all the time when you do have a complete team like that you can know when you can get on the bench and you can sit and you can catch your breath, take a drink of water or whatever it might be, and you know that you got a third line out there that's going to be able to rack up some points as well.
Yeah, all the pressure's off.
Which is pretty good. That brings me to another thing. C.J. Stubbs, Scott Ramakers, Chris Mott, Josh Fletcher, even guys who don't sometimes play the center role can step in and play the center role. How important is that? Because I know a lot of people talk about the centers being, I don't know, maybe the best hockey player on a team sometimes. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. But how important is it that you guys have wingers that can pop into that center role, take faceoffs like they do, and be so successful at it?
Yeah, no, it's huge. But at the same time, that's our game, like in the D zone, when we come back, first guy's playing center. The other guy, if you're closest to that wall, you're playing wing. So we do it all season anyway, whether you're playing center or not. That's just how we have it set up. That's how Sherwood has it set up. You're playing different positions almost every time you're in the D zone. And then when we're playing offense, you're not really playing a position. It's kind of positionless. So, I mean, it's a seamless transition. It's not like we're asking these guys to go crazy, log a bunch of minutes and stuff. But it's kind of just like part of our game, next man up.
Have you always felt like a leader on this team? I know it's a tough question, but it seems like to me you kind of lead kind of quietly. Yeah,
I like to lead with my play. I mean, after the games or whatever, people say, like, oh, you look like you're a good skater, you look good out there and stuff. Like, that's all I really want. Like, I don't want to be like Herb Brooks in the locker room being all emotional and stuff like that. But I like to lead with my play. I think guys watch me play, and they kind of want to play like me. So, yeah, I kind of see myself as a leader.
Who's the guy on the team that doesn't have a letter on his chest but is kind of like one of the more vocal guys in the locker room?
You got a couple of them. I mean, all the guys speak up, and no one's shy to speak their word or anything. But, I mean, Steph's one of them. Stubbs is one of them. Stoner's one of them. Don's one of them. So
definitely plenty of guys that will kind of speak up and
Mac too, if he's got something to say. Everyone got free reign to speak up.
I hear C-Mac can be sarcastic at times.
Yeah, he's got that mass attitude, that Northeast humor.
Do you guys get along because of that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we got the same sense of humor and stuff. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Gavin, obviously I know because I've talked to Coach Sherwood multiple times. The goal this season again is to do something that nobody's done, obviously, in the FPHL, which is win back to back. Is it really talked about, or is it just? This is what we're going to do. This is the attitude is that we're going as far as we can.
We're just going as far as we can. I don't think we talk about it at all. We're even on this huge winning streak, and I don't even think the guys realized it till he brought it up 15 the other night. So, no, it's just understood. It's really not talked about. It's just more understood.
Yeah, 15 games in a row. Have you ever been on a heater like that before?
No, not in any league, not at any age, no, nothing like this.
It is kind of like weird because I had to go through Binghamton hockey history. It's the first time it's happened here in Binghamton hockey history. There's been no team, even in 92-93, which is considered the greatest AHL season for a regular season for an AHL team, the Binghamton Rangers in 92-93. They had the most points in the AHL, the most wins in the AHL, and they did not have, because they had ties back then. You remember ties back in hockey, right? They actually had, I think, 10 or 13 ties. So it broke it up. The longest win streak they had was 10. So, yeah, so you guys already killed that.
That's really good in that league, though.
It is really good in that league to have 10 consecutive wins. And there was no shootout back then. So it was either tie or overtime loss or a loss. So, yeah,
that's impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Matter of fact, even on the league website, they just say you're 10-0-0 in the last 10. They should just crank that up to 15 at this point.
Right.
But how does
it do the same for Danville, though?
What's that?
You'd have to do the same for Danville.
Yeah, I know. That's the unfortunate thing. Gavin, let me ask you about when a team like Danville comes in, and I mean, listen, stuff doesn't work out, right? It just doesn't work out. They don't win games. Does that make it harder or easier for you guys to think about? Because I think there's a mental side to hockey, of course, right? And you don't want to overlook 2 games this weekend or on the weekend just because the team has only won 1 game. So how hard is it mentally to get up for a team like the Dashers who've only won 1 game?
If it was an away game, it'd be a different story. But I think just playing at home, I think the guys are so fired up to play at home. I don't think it matters who we play. We want to win big this weekend, and I think we're going to do that. So, yeah, I think home games and away games are just different stories. But I think everyone's going to be fired up to play this weekend.
Fair enough. Last Saturday there was a sellout 48-93. You've seen a few sellouts now, multiple sellouts, obviously at the arena over the last 4 years that you've been here in Binghamton. Does it still surprise you, or is it more of expected when you see those big crowds in Binghamton?
I think it's more surprising when we see smaller crowds now at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the big crowds are amazing. You know, every night you skate around, you just look around, you got to just soak it all in. It's really cool. I don't think you could ever get sick of it.
I know you don't pay too much attention to social media, but there are a lot of fans that will go down and meet you guys in the corners and get pictures with you. And I think probably almost every single player on that team, I've seen a picture with you guys with like a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 10-year-old kid, boys, girls. It doesn't really matter. I know you're like obviously one of the older statesmen, but is it still one of those things where you're like kind of like, wow, they want a picture with me?
Oh, for sure.
Do you guys realize the special connection that you guys have with the fans?
Yeah, no, I think about it all the time. I think of myself as a kid. I used to go to the Worcester Ice Cap games.
Oh, yeah, Worcester.
Yeah. And I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, you know, and when we're doing it now, like when I have family and friends that come up and they see the post game, they come around and they see all the pictures, all the autographs, and like that's what my family talks about after the game is not the hockey game or nothing. They go, that is so cool after the game. You guys are giving out autographs and all these people are willing to take pictures with you. They literal rock stars, you know, like it's the coolest thing. But like when families come, that's what they take away is something like that. It's really cool.
So obviously you went to games in Worcester. You saw the Ice Cats. I love that you brought up an old AHL team like the Ice Cats. I loved going there. Honestly, I had some good friends that worked for the Ice Cats. But I have to ask, coming here to Binghamton, when you came to Binghamton, did you know the history of Binghamton at that point?
No, I had no clue like the hockey roots it has here and everything. But no, when I got reached out to about Binghamton and stuff, they were sending me pictures of like the rink and all that stuff. So I kind of figured it was like old AHL barn and stuff, but I had no clue like the actual deep roots that Binghamton has in the hockey ties.
Yeah, it goes back, and it's pretty awesome. I'm kind of glad that a guy like you is here playing with Binghamton. Just to add to the history, you and Tyson have done so much, as a Black Bear. Both you guys have, the records, the numbers. You and Austin Thompson as well. The three of you guys, rank up there in the top 5 of Binghamton Black Bears, but also are starting to crack the top 10s and the top 20s of Binghamton hockey history when it comes to the stats. And I know you guys don't care about that stuff, more so about the trophy at the end of the year. But it is pretty impressive that when you stay in a place long enough that you can start to kind of like, crack into those numbers. Yeah,
no, it's really cool. Right now it's whatever. We went to a championship. No one's really looking at points and stuff like that. But 10 years from now, I'll be telling my kids, that'll be really cool.
So you and I saw each other at the celebration. I took a picture with the MVP trophy. I claimed it as mine, but it's yours, obviously, or it was yours. Did you create any new damage to the trophy? Because I know that happens sometimes with trophies, whether it be the Commissioner's Cup, the Calder Cup. I could tell you some stories about Chicago Wolves and what they've done to that thing, and even the Binghamton Senators when they had it in 2011. Was there any mishaps with the MVP trophy or the Commissioner's Cup with you?
I'll tell you what, that thing was begging for it. I had to rough it up a little bit.
So it was too clean for you, right? You had to dirty it up a little bit.
When I got the thing, it was kind of all raggedy. The top was kind of shaky, so I think I got it broken, to be honest with you.
Fair enough. All right. So, Gavin, as I told you before, we do 6 more questions with the guys, and then we run it on our Sunday podcast. Seeing that you're going to be on our Sunday podcast anyways, I'm going to run through these 6 more questions. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. All right. No, you know what? Before we start that, one of the things that I wanted to bring up with you was your dad went with you guys on the Mississippi trip. Talk about that for a few minutes.
Yeah, that was awesome. So he lives down in Florida. He's in Denellen down there. And my uncle, his brother, lives in Worcester. So Worcester, Mass. So my uncle flew down to Florida, met him. They had a few days together down there. And then they drove over to Mississippi for the weekend to watch a couple games. We went to New Orleans, hung out around there and stuff. So, yeah, it was really cool to see him.
And how important was it to have your dad there for those couple games?
It's awesome. Just seeing him and what he means in my hockey career and everything. It's kind of got me tearing up over here, but it's always awesome to see him and stuff.
That's great. I've been told, I was told that he was there, and I just wanted to bring it up, and because I'm sure it was important to you.
Yeah, it means the world to me to see him and my uncle and stuff. No, it's really special. So.
Yeah, I think Michael Sherwood also came for Brant too.
Yeah, Dylan's dad was there too.
Dylan's dad.
All the dads had a little powwow down there.
That's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, cool.
They were probably all playing golf and smoking cigars and stuff.
Yeah.
All right, number 1, and I think I probably know the answer to this question, but I'll ask anyways, because sometimes it's a parent, sometimes it's an actual hockey player. Who is the greatest influence in your hockey playing career?
Can I go with like a whole organization?
Ooh, I like this. Yeah, go ahead.
The Colorado Avalanche.
Why? Okay, now you have to explain this one.
My hockey career. Because I was a big snowboarder growing up.
Really?
My dad was a big snowboarder, so he always told me to go out west. You got to go out west when you get of age. You got to go out west and snowboard and stuff. So I always thought west in the mountains, Colorado. Fell in love with the Avalanche. Started watching them. I always wanted to go play hockey at Denver.
Nice.
I always loved Colorado. I used to watch them. Joe Sakic, Peter Forsberg, Hayduke, Patrick Waugh. I think that whole team is what really made me fall in love with hockey.
So Hayduke was playing hockey before I met my wife. My wife's last name is my wife's last name is Hayduke. And and Hayduke, obviously, so I knew how, when I read her name, I was like, oh, Hayduke. And she's like, how did you know this? I was like, well, because there's a hockey player named Hayduke, and it's spelled with an E instead of the A, like in your name. And she's like, still, you know how to pronounce it? And I was like, yeah, yours is Polish, and his is, I think, Czechoslovakian, if I remember correctly, or right around that area and stuff. And she was so surprised by that. So hockey, got me, brownie points with my wife because of Hayduke. So that's pretty awesome. My brother, he is a Colorado Avalanche fan. He was so happy when they won the cup. Just like he is totally an Avalanche guy. So that's pretty cool.
I played juniors with that kid from Colorado Springs, and I went out there. I was supposed to just go for a week, and I loved it so much out there. I ended up staying for like a month and a half, couple months.
That's awesome.
So, and they were going through like their playoff run. It was one of their first playoff runs, so it was cool to watch that out there.
That's pretty cool. The excitement,
full circle.
Yeah, the excitement, right? The excitement is always pretty awesome when you see that when you're in the town, which is pretty cool. All right, number 2, name one pregame ritual that you have to do before every game.
Kick the soccer ball around. Probably play some sewer.
Yeah, that's been mentioned before. All right, number 3, vacation destination. Are you a beach guy? Camping? Do you like to stay in? Or what does Dana drag you to?
Yeah, true. Well, we live like towards the beach, so if we're going on a vacation, I'd probably go up in the mountains, snowboarding, skiing, something like that.
That makes sense.
Snowmobiling or something.
Yeah, it makes sense with you. Now,
I'm a huge beach guy. I love the beach.
I'm going to ask this question, and you might give me a different answer, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, just from our conversations, it's probably something that easy to guess. Outside of hockey, if you were going to watch something on television or go to an event, would it be MLB, NBA, NFL, MLS, or the PGA?
PGA, easily.
Yeah, I figured. Do you have a favorite player that's playing on the tour right now?
Jacob Knopp. He just shot a 59 or something today.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching him play a lot. So it's probably my favorite right now.
That's pretty cool. Hey, have you had a hole-in-one yet?
I do.
Really?
It's on a par 3 course.
That's
so it's an 18-hole course, but they're all par 3s.
Okay.
So my buddy gives me crap and says it doesn't count, but I think it does.
I think it counts too. I do think it counts. Listen, I mean, because most pro golfers, they get their par 3 or they get their hole in ones on par 3s. Sometimes it's on a par 4, but most of the time it's par 3. So it's the same. Don't worry about it. You
get 18 shots at it on a par 3 course, but same thing.
It's still okay. I've been an inch away. That's the closest I've ever gone. Yeah, an inch away. You know, I just kind of wish the wind was blowing just a tad bit harder that day. You know.
Yeah.
All right,
you gotta be with your buddies too. You can't be by yourself.
No. Listen, my buddy Roger, he was there. He looked at it. He's like, "Damn, that's close." I was like, "Can we count it?" And he's like, "Nope, but that's close."
I should have just kicked it in for you.
All right, number 5. If you were picking a movie, would it be a comedy, a drama, sci-fi, romantic, or horror?
Comedy. I'm a big comedy guy.
Favorite kind of comedy, you know, because I know there's like the Will Ferrell type.
I like the older comedies. Like, a lot of people give me crap for this, but Beer Fest. You ever seen the movie Beer Fest?
Yes.
That's a good one. I like Dodgeball too.
Oh, Dodgeball's great.
All-time classic. I was watching Little Nicky the other night. It's an all-time classic. I like the older comedies.
Obviously, your nickname is Shooter McGavin on Instagram. Obviously, Happy Gilmore's one of the movies you like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could watch Happy. I've probably seen that movie a million times. All the Addams Families. I've probably seen all of those hundreds and hundreds of times. Yeah. Me too. Okay, number 6. This is the fun one. This is the one that I kept over from last year to this year. Basically, a zombie apocalypse has broken out, and you're trapped in a hockey arena. Who is the one person, dead or alive, fictional or non-fictional, that you would like to have with you in the arena? Oh, man.
I know. I'm making you think tonight.
Yeah, I think just for survival purposes, it would have to be like Iron Man or something.
Okay. Are you going with Iron Man?
Yeah, I'd lock in Iron Man just to keep me alive.
That's fair.
Yeah, he's a cool dude too, so I guess we can hang out.
That's perfect. Gavin, it's been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to see you.
You too, Bob.
I told the story I told the story early in the season. The first time we saw each other when the season came back, you came up and you actually gave me a hug, and it was the nicest thing I think a hockey player has done. Just that kind of like warm, kind of like hello. Hey, it's good to see you again. It's the start of the season. And the one thing I will always say, Gavin, every time I see you, you always have a smile on your face when you see me. I appreciate that. You're one of the good dudes out there. I try to tell people that all the time. So thank you very much for coming on again. And, whenever you get back outside to, hit the clubs, hit them good and hit them. I'd say hit them straight and hit them far, but you and I already had that conversation. Just hit them straight at this point.
Yeah, hit them. Just don't hit them sideways. But I appreciate it, Bob. You're the man, and you're part of the team and everything, and we appreciate having you around and stuff. So we love what you do and everything. So we all appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys. It's been a pleasure, and to keep hockey going for its 52nd season and a potential, pleasant ending. We're all hoping for coming up. That would be great. And I'll see you at your rink. I'll see you at the rink.
All right, awesome. All right, Bob. Have a great night. Thank you.
You're welcome. And we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
If you're a Binghamton hockey fan, then you need to check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your news, stats, information, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, top 10 lists, profiles, and so much more. That's binghamtonhockey.net.
You're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. That was Gavin Yates. Thank you very much, Gavin, for talking to me on Thursday night before the Dasher series and allowing us to do that. We also had him answer the 6 more questions segment that we would normally do on Sundays, which is pretty cool. All right, so before I let you guys go, the day after game report segment that I do every day after a game, I usually talk a little bit about perspective, and perspective is very important. And I'm not going to read you the whole day after game report that I did on Sunday after Saturday night's win, but there's a part where I want to kind of like start off. And I recommend everybody go to the Power Play Post Show Facebook group and check this out and read the whole thing, because there's stuff in there about Tyson and his milestones. But I want to talk about this because it kind of keeps with the theme a little bit. And so this is about halfway through the report. Binghamton fans are lucky, but so are Binghamton players and everyone in the organization. In 24 home games this season, the Black Bears fans have come out in full force, more so than in 20 years since the early Binghamton Senators days. The Black Bears fans have shown up for 6 sellouts so far this season and an average of 4,188 in 24 games at Division's Veterans Memorial Arena. Most teams and players in the league don't get this much love and support. Are there great fans all throughout the FPHL? Yes. Are there great fans throughout all of North America's minor pro hockey leagues? Yes. But who can say in what city that a city loses its AHL affiliation, then in 4 short years has rejuvenated a fan base by winning over previous AHL fans and creating a new set of fans? I was personally close with the Manchester Monarchs of the AHL. I would travel and do color for their radio play-by-play broadcaster, Ken Kale, who was one of my mentors. The Monarchs won the Calder Cup in 2015, and it was an amazing year. They averaged 5,621 fans per game through 38 games, a good number. The team was then stripped from the fans and moved to Ontario, California. The Monarchs were then demoted to the ECHL, but at least it was an NHL-affiliated hockey right. No. The Monarchs immediately lost 1,000 fans per game, and in 4 short years only averaged 2,458 fans, and then the team was folded. It broke my heart to see a city and an arena, a legacy, and a fan base destroyed by the LA Kings. That's where Binghamton hockey didn't fall that far. Yes, after COVID and the New Jersey Devils left Binghamton, so did the AHL. But this isn't Manchester, New Hampshire. This is the home of Slapshot. This is the home of the Broom Dusters. This is the home of one of the best minor league logos, the Binghamton Whalers logo. It was voted that a couple times. I can tell you that for sure. This is the home of the 2011 Calder Cup champion Binghamton Senators in the AHL's 75th season. This is the home of Ken Holland, who played here and then became one of the best general managers in NHL history. This is the home of generations and generations of Binghamton hockey fans and the home of the first and the best nicknames ever given to a city by the Hockey News, Hockey Town, USA. Binghamton fans welcomed in the FPHL slowly at first, just barely averaging over 3,000 fans the first season. But with hard work by players, front office staff, and team owner Andreas Johansson, the growth in Binghamton has been nothing but extraordinary. And another man who needs to be talked about in this process is, of course, Tyson Kirkby. And the reason why Tyson Kirkby needs to be talked about, he spent the last 4 years here. And since he came in at the beginning of, or the end of the first season, right? Played 14, 18 games, I think, somewhere right around there. And ever since then, he's developed more and more into a leader on ice for the team. And I just wanted you guys to understand the history, right? I was, again, like I said in my piece, I was a part of the Manchester Monarchs broadcast team for a few years, and it was one of the greatest things. I didn't do the home games. I did away games with Ken. He'd come to Binghamton and Wilkes-Barre, and I think I did a couple games in Hershey, which was so cool, being in the Giant Center. Sat next to the general manager of the LA Kings a couple different times, and just really had a very good time. And it was unfortunate that when they lost their team to Ontario, immediately, they didn't even have a banner raising. A real one, right? I mean, like, I guess they did, but it was an ECHL team standing in front of that. And then this is the sad part. This is really the sad part about this whole situation in Manchester. Once the team folded, they took down the banner and they put it in Ontario. So if you go to Ontario and you see the Reign play, there's a Manchester Monarchs Calder Cup Championship 2015 banner. And it's hanging in the wrong arena. It's really disgusting. But Binghamton didn't do that. Binghamton is a hockey community that most people don't understand it until they're actually a part of it. Whether you're a player, whether you're a fan, whether you're a head coach, you don't understand what Binghamton hockey history is until you're a part of it. And, Brant Sherwood to Tyson Kirkby to Dakota Bond to all the new kids that come in, they find out. Think about Darian's first game, right, guys? Darian's first game was a sellout. He's going to think, oh, this is going to happen every single night. But no, it doesn't. Of course not, right? We don't sell out every single night. This isn't the 1974-75 Broom Dusters. We don't sell out every night. But it's still one of the best environments. If you're a young player coming into single A hockey, this is one of the best environments to be in. And I will die on the hill for that point. I think it was great what the fans did this weekend for the Dashers Hockey Club. I think it's great what our booster club and our fans do for every single player that comes in here. And I know there's a lot of great support that comes from a lot of different areas, financially and so on, for the players that play here. I respect that. I really do. And I hope in the end, deep down, that people who had maybe a problem with the donation drive will understand that what the Binghamton fans did was phenomenal. And if anybody needs any help in the hockey community, Binghamton fans will definitely be there for them. And that's important. The Power Play Post Show is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on whichever platform you listen to your podcast, and please subscribe. Please join the Power Play Post Show Facebook group. Just go to Facebook and search for Power Play Post Show. Check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your Binghamton hockey information and curiosity. Thank you to Rob Lapolis, our MC, John Petitucci, our musical director, and two-time MVP of the playoffs in the FPHL and Binghamton Black Bears forward Gavin Yates. I am Bob Howard. Now, if you've stayed this long, and what are we looking at? 118 right now. But if you have stayed this long, I do want to say that I'm very excited to have coming up this week on the show will be Andrew Logar. We're going to go back in time a little bit, talk to Andrew about last season and playing here and winning a championship and what he's up to these days. So there will be an interview with Andrew Logar. Plus, there might be somebody joining the Power Play Post Show team. I might have somebody writing a segment coming up after each game, which I think is going to be pretty cool as well. We're working out the details on that, and we'll hopefully maybe start that possibly even this weekend. So I'm excited about that. So again, I am Bob Howard. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time right here on the Power Play Post Show.